Heavyweight boxing fans, what's the deal? Let me give a quick shout out to a subscriber, Daz Swan. Okay, he sent me this message, was it 5 days ago, man? So I'm finally getting to it. And he sent me um this message about the possibilities of who Joseph Parker, who his fight will be in the fall time after he takes care of this fight with Solomon HAUMONO. I know every fight isn't a guaranteed win, so if I had to put my money on it, I would say that Parker is going to defeat HAUMONO, okay? Now, the possible opponents that he sent to me, they all make sense, because they're Anthony Joshua type of opponent as far as the height, the reach, having a solid punch. It's kind of hard to say which one of these guys punches, as hard as Anthony Joshua. But I think all of these guys are good possibilities and they make for good matchups, okay? And I tried to respond to you, Daz, tell you thanks for this information that you sent me. And I couldn't do it, man. I don't know. Sometime on YouTube, it's hard to reply to messages, but I sub to your channel anyways, man. If you see this, I'll interact with you in the comment section about it. But let me go ahead and read what he sent me here as far as the opponents. He says, Johan Duhaupas. I think that'd be a good fight. Duhaupas gave Wilder some tough challenges. Tepper was a good fight. He just knocked out Robert Helenius, so I think it'd be a good fight. But he goes on to say, Duhaupas is 35 years old. He needs his shot now. Deontay has already fought and beat him, so he won't be fighting him anytime soon. A shot at Parker's IBF mandatory might be what he needs. He only earned $140,000 for his Wilder fight, so it's a fight I think Duco could afford. I do too. However, in saying all that, it is a huge fight, so it would make sense to hold this in New Zealand, in Auckland, and not in Invercargill, okay? I think that's a good possible opponent. Gerald Washington, he goes on to say, I actually think this is a pretty unlikely. Washington is 34 and does need to make a move, but I don't think Washington's camp would be ready to put his 17-0 record on the line. Not possible, but I think it's unlikely. Or not impossible, but I think it's unlikely. I think that'd be a good move for Gerald Washington if he's willing to go out there and fight him. At this point, like you said, being 34 years old, you would want Washington to go looking for his opportunities and not just sitting around waiting for them to fall in his lap. I think that'd be a good fight. Another opponent, he gave me 6 opponents here, but number 3 was Andre Wawrzyk. I think that'd be a good fight. The Poland fighter. He only lost to, who did he lose? Who did he get sparked up by? Povetkin. He didn't look that good in that Povetkin fight, man. But he goes on to say he's 28 years old. I think he is less likely to fight Parker. However, he has fought in a title fight before, and his camp could think they beat Parker. So many, they want this fight. I just think it's unlikely because Wawrzyk has time on his hands. All right, then he goes on to mention Alexander Dimitrenko. Whenever I hear this guy's name, I just think he's going to try to pull out of a fight, or just the whole debacle with, first he was going to try to fight Ortiz, then that fight didn't go through, and then the Shannon Briggs, and that fight didn't go through. And then I remember he had a fight in his career. I forgot who he was fighting. Sasonsky, I forgot the guy's name, that he passed out in the dressing room literally like an hour before the fight. But he's still a solid, big, solid guy, as far as his height, reach. He's solid, man. I think Dimitrenko's solid. But he goes on to say, I actually think this one is a good possibility. He's 38-2 with decent rankings. At 33 years old, Dimitrenko is at the right stage of his career to take this fight. Doubt the fight would command a huge payday, and he is a fighter of decent experience. I agree. Number 5, he says Mariusz Wach. Okay, before I read about Wach, I know Wach and Pulev, they're scheduled by the, or they're being ordered by the EBU for that fight to happen between Mariusz Wach and Kurbat Pulev, okay? So he goes on to say, this is a good possibility too. Wach is a fighter. Parker's camp had put offers out in the past. Yes, I remember that. Wach is 36, experienced, and has fought for titles before. Klitschko. Joe has something worthwhile to a 36-year-old fighter who in reality wouldn't get another chance at a fight like this. I don't think so. He would probably take the fight. I wouldn't say he's not going to have a chance like this, because like I just said, Wach is scheduled to fight Kurbat Pulev for that EBU title, and the winner of that, if Wach wins that fight, the IBF would probably put Wach as the second guy in line for that mandatory. Probably not, but if Pulev loses that fight, I think the IBF would definitely look at Wach as a possible challenger for a world title after, because Pulev is in that IBF ranking, and Pulev is rated highly by the WBC too. But Parker's supposed to get his shot first against the IBF champion, and then Pulev's supposed to be second. But if Pulev was to lose the Wach, you know what I mean? So I guess Wach could fight Pulev, fight Parker, and same thing to me. But maybe he may think he has advantage over Parker because he's young. Maybe he think he could take advantage of his youth. Or maybe he think the youth is dangerous and he wants to take on a older guy like Pulev, all right? And then number 6, he has Wallisch, Michiel Wallisch. And he goes on to say, this is far less likely. Out of all of them, I think Wallisch is 16-0, the German heavyweight champion, unranked in the top 10, the WBO. Or I'm sorry, he's ranked in the top 10 of the WBO. Joe's already number 1 ranked guy in the WBO, and I doubt Wallisch's camp want to risk their O right now. With Michiel Wallisch, that whole German thing, I would like to see him fight Tom Schwarz or maybe Ajit Kabayel, because both of those guys just had some good performances. Both of those guys just beat the Lewandowski brothers. So Wallisch, Schwarz, Kabayel, all of those guys, I like to see those guys fight. You know what I mean? I think that'd be good for those guys. But Wallisch versus Parker, I watched the fight. I know a lot of fans will pull out the who the hell is that guy card. But I know who that, I know who Michiel Wallisch is. And I wouldn't mind seeing, but like I said, I like to see the German guys kind of try to figure out who's the top guy in Germany. You know what I mean? Then he goes on to say, out of all of them, I think Wach and Dimitrenko are the likely opponents. However, I'm going to throw a little spin on this. Lucas Browne has been stripped of the WBA regular title. Yes, he has. And they reinstated Ruslan Chagayev. Then he says that counts him out of the WBA tournament now. I've been reading a few articles, and Lucas Browne has stated he expects to be back in the ring September, now that he isn't tied up in the WBA tournament. All right, I think he will probably fight Joe. So he's throwing Lucas Browne in there. We know Browne offered, or Browne wanted to fight Joe. They offered him $1 million for like a 3-fight deal and fight Joe last. I know that was offered a while ago, but I'm just putting this out there. Who do you guys think he's going to fight? I think all these guys are a good possibility, man. So I'm